Good day, traders, and welcome back to another weekly market update video with me, Zain Vawda, your analyst here at Wanda. Markets are bracing for quite an intriguing week ahead following the Chair Powell speech at Jackson Hole last week Friday. Now, obviously, the move by the Fed chair, which many termed as a pivot, saw an increase in rate cut expectations for the United States Federal Reserve. Obviously, the rate cut expectations rising for the September meeting from 70% to around a 90 to 95% probability based on the latest LSEG data. Now, we also had an increase in the number of rate cuts seen for the rest of the year, the probability obviously rising for 50 basis points of rate cuts through the end of the year, according to the latest data as well from LSEG. So these were rather interesting developments, which obviously had a knock-on impact for risk assets. The US dollar index in particular, which experienced a significant sell-off. The dollar obviously now hovering close to year-to-date lows near some key areas of support as well. Now, I think the biggest factor moving forward this week for market participants is monitoring whether these moves are going to be sustainable or not. Now, in the early part of the week, we don't have a lot of data out of the US, and that could mean that markets could focus on overall sentiment, and we could also see some Federal Reserve policymakers speaking, which could add some extra volatility, particularly where the US dollar is concerned. Now, later in the week, we do have the US PCE data, which is obviously the Fed's preferred gauge for inflation. So it will be interesting to see what number we get there and whether that will have any lasting impact on the actual expectations for rate cuts moving forward. So bear that in mind. And we will also get some further labor data as well this week from the US. So keep that in mind as we move forward. Now, beyond that, obviously, in international news, we also have some interesting inflation data out of Japan this week, and that also could stoke some changes to expectations around rate hikes for the Bank of Japan moving forward, and that could have some impact on the US dollar Japanese yen currency pair as well, or at least stoke some volatility on that front. So bear that in mind, and I hope to catch you guys next week with another market update video. Have a good one.